Good morning. How to remove a turbidity sensor from a Proteus unit. You'll find two Allen bolts either side on the stainless steel sleeve. First thing to do is to remove the Allen bolts. That is what you will be removing. Then, by applying pressure onto the body, do not twist, but just gently ease the sleeve out from inside. You'll then remove these PCBs, taking note that the battery is at the rear part of this. On the actual PCB it will say just about there, CPU battery. On the AIB PCB you will note two Allen bolts. These are now to be removed with the smaller Allen key. Remove the sleeve. That can just slide over the AIB PCB. What I find an easy way to do is just put a little bit of pressure on it, and the sleeve will slide off. Theoretically, there we are. So on the AIB, you can see all the various connections. Now, turbidity is marked as turb and is roughly there. So the first thing to do is to actually remove the plug for the turbidity sensor. What I tend to do then is to find a way of threading it through all the other wires, because it's almost certainly going to be tangled up with them. And there it is. Now it's free. Now the turbidity sensor is located in the center of the sensor array, and you will probably need a cross-headed screwdriver to undo that sensor from its mounting plate. It's a small aluminium notch that just holds the sensor in place. Now the sensor will be dropping into the cup, so it's very important to ensure that you can remove the cup. There we go. And that there's no actual fluid in the cup. So that is how the sensor array is. Take a note of where the brush is, because we do not want the brush interfering with the two fluorometer sensors, if indeed you have them, or any of the other sensors. Here you'll note it is in between the various sensors there. So what you can now do is apply gentle but firm pressure to the sensor using either your finger or a soft tool, and it will then just come out from the body. By exerting a slight pressure on it, the sensor is removed. Now it's important to apply a bead of molykote. We use a syringe with the molykote inside to the sensor body to ensure that there is enough of the molykote grease around the sensor. Now refitting is basically the reversal of removal. So what I do again, locate the cable, ensure the cable feeds through, straighten the cable out, straighten the cable if you can, and then locate the cable into the aperture. It's a very big aperture, so that's the easy part. I double check to make sure the cable is not fouling on anything, and then we reinsert the sensor until it butts up inside the unit. What you can do is check that the screw hole will line up with the plate that the screw hole screws into. This will give you a good idea of which way to align the sensor. If the sensor isn't aligned correctly, then what I do is just ease it out slightly, and then I can apply pressure on the base of the sensor to actually turn it. You can see the movement there, hopefully. So I would say, looking at this, it needs to come around that way, and then you can work out whether it's going to fit or not, maybe slightly more. That, I would say, is about right, and we'll see if I'm right. Not bad. Another little bit further over. It's a little bit of a faff, and it just needs to be done slowly and surely, ensuring that the brush will not foul any of the sensors if possible, especially the fluorometers. There we are. Now that is now located. What we've got to do now is put the screw back in. Once the sensor is located, what I do is place the cup back over the sensors to prevent any damage. If, for example, you may drop the sensor or drop the unit, you're not going to damage anything else. Unfortunately, these things do not come particularly cheap. So you take the screw, the small locator screw, and then locate it in the sensor and screw it in. Always check the other screw that's located in the body, because the movement of the assembly can often loosen that screw. Then you can locate the connector in the correct place where it says Turb, which is there, he says. There we go. So now we have to locate the two screw holes, one there, with the screws going through the board on the opposite sides, 45 degrees to the two connectors for the PCBs. If you look at the ring, there's a little ridge on the ring. That is the upper side, and that side with no ridge is the lower side, and the PCB will generally fit inside that ring. Some PCBs are not the correct size for this ring. The unit still worked perfectly serviceably. It was just a manufacturing issue that our suppliers had, and they have now resolved. So that slides over the ring. We then take our two smaller long Allen bolts and we locate those, and that's how I do it, onto the holes. What I do is take a few turns to hold the Allen bolt in place, take the other one, locate it through, ensuring that no wires are fouled or caught on the Allen bolt. Find the hole, hold the Allen bolt there, screw it in. I will add that this has gone remarkably easy, bearing in mind I'm filming it. Normally it's not as easy as this. So I'm going to carry on until I'm finished. Okay, so now we have the unit fitted, the two Allen bolts there and there, not there and there, definitely not there and there, otherwise the orientation of the unit when you come to fit it back together will not be correct. Okay, so we take our PCBs, ensuring that the locators and the securing tags are all located in the correct place. Where it says CPU battery, on there is where the battery needs to go. So I will fit that now. Just gently press that in, but firmly press it in. So you will see that the battery is now located on the rearward part of this, facing the wall of the sleeve. Now in the sleeve, whether we can see that or not, you will see, maybe not, see the CPU. So there is a CPU in the top of the sleeve, and that is the locating part where it says CPU. You can't actually see that, but it says CPU battery on the outside part. So that then fits over and gently down, and sometimes I just move it ever so slightly, but do not turn it to get it down to locate, and then gently press, gently but firmly press. This is where it goes wrong, because this is quite tricky sometimes. And there it's located. You can feel that notch located. Keep downward pressure on it as you locate the bolts, because what will happen is, because these are sealed units, you get a slight build-up of pressure inside, and you can then take your hand off and the top floats back up again under pressure from what's inside. He says, trying to locate the Allen bolt. There we go. So again, screw the Allen bolt in. Take the other Allen bolt, fit that. And your unit should now be ready to power back on. Again, before you do anything else, take this cap off the end, check the integrity of all the sensors, ensuring that the brush assembly is now not fouling any sensors. That looks good to me. Then I would say that, wouldn't I? And there we go. Everything goes back on again.